Do you love dogs? Well, then this movie might not be so pleasant for you. Hey, listen, The Dog Stars is hardly as nice as the title suggests. It's a post-apocalyptic world with a guy and his dog, and things transpire. Yeah, I'm just put it out there. I'll just say that. Alrighty, y'all. Well, today we're talking all about The Dog Stars, and yes, I'm giving you my spoiler-free thoughts, and whew, boy. Yeah, this film is something else. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and yes, that's right. Today I'm giving you my full review on The Dog Stars, directed by Ridley Scott. A huge thank you to 20th Century Studios for giving me the chance to watch this in IMAX early for review. Of course, it was in a digital IMAX theater at my local AMC, and wow, beautiful. Like, this movie's beautiful. But that might be where it stops. Now, guys, before we get into my positives and, of course, my negatives, if it is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James, where I love talking about movies, TV, and all the news in between. So if you do too, you know what to do. Hit that big red button below, subscribe to the channel, tap on that bell, and let me know in the comments below. If you do see The Dog Stars, do you agree with me or do you disagree with me? Now listen here, you guys. If you saw my out-of-theater reaction, you know I'm not very hot about this film. It has promise when you look at the cast and even hear the story a bit. So let's dive into what this movie's all about. The Dog Stars is in theaters this weekend, August 28th, and has a runtime of 1 hour and 58 minutes. It's directed by Ridley Scott, someone who is, well, very famous. At least at this point in his career, he's very famous for being inconsistent. Hate to say it, but it's so true. In the film itself stars Jacob Elordi, who plays Hig, Margaret Qualley, who plays Cima, and Josh Brolin, who plays Bangley. Honorable mention, Benedict Wong is in this movie, and so is Guy Pearce. So they're pretty great. Well, as actors. In the movie, they don't do much. But the film itself is really set in this post-apocalyptic world. It's based on a novel of the same name, and in this post-apocalyptic world, this flu, this virus, has taken out a lot of people, and now it's up to Hig, Bangley, and his newfound friends, I guess, Cima and her father, to sort of survive in this world, which is overrun by ravengers and people who want to do harm. So you can see where the story's kind of going. And none of that probably sounds very unique to you, but the cast was one that I was looking forward to seeing on the big screen. Now, when it comes to the visuals here, you're probably not going to be surprised to hear this because I said it in my out-of-theater reaction, but Eric Messerschmidt is the DP for this film, and he's DPing the Batman Part 2. So I thought, okay, well, if this movie looks good, I'll be more confident for how the film will look, or at least how the Batman Part 2 will look when it hits theaters, I think in like 2 years. So did it look good? Well, let's get into my positives, you guys. And, well, that is the very first thing we're going to talk about, which is the visuals for this film. I mean, there are a lot of aerial shots where you see Hig, who, of course, again, is played by Jacob Elordi, and his dog are in this single-engine plane, and it is beautiful. I mean, the mountaintops, the snow-capped mountains, the valleys, the peaks, the hills, it all looked so beautiful, and it's set against this post-apocalyptic backdrop, so it is a funny contrast at times. I thought that the film itself, you could really tell there's a style here. Dreary, kind of dark, and it plays towards some like Western tones, and I was thinking like, okay, Eric Messerschmidt is doing a pretty good job here because visually, I'm on board with The Dog Stars. And no matter what, with any film, even as bad as some of them can be, if the cast at least is capable, some of the scenes are more bearable. And that's where I fell many times in The Dog Stars. I wasn't crazy about the writing, which we'll get into, but when it comes to the cast, they are able to do more with the source material than the source material is providing. Jacob Elordi's performance as Hig was my favorite in the first half of the movie, but in the second half of the film, Margaret Qualley, who plays Cima, does a really good job, I'd say. I'm not really like so high on Margaret Qualley, but she kind of won me over a bit in this movie because I liked how she was able to balance the more emotional scenes with Cima when they finally give her stuff to really chew on, and I'm thinking to myself, finally, we're getting into some drama, and the chemistry between both Jacob Elordi and Margaret Qualley, romantically, not really there, but individually, they're pretty good. There were also a couple of really cool action sequences, and it reminded me of, again, why Ridley Scott is so darn good at directing action. We have Josh Brolin basically in the middle of a Call of Duty game, and he is doing a great job in that particular scene. And then Jacob Elordi with Cima and her father, they are on the run, and it's really cool to see how these sequences are parallel to one another in the film too. I just think that this movie does a lot to sort of remind you of why Ridley Scott is a good director, but it does even more to remind you of his lows from the past decade, where he is just very inconsistent. Because I'm going to be honest, you guys, when it comes to the positives, that's all I got. That's all I got for the positives. Unfortunately, The Dog Stars is a film that just proves again that Ridley Scott, well, maybe the ship has sailed for him. I feel bad saying it, but like, he is way too inconsistent now in this point of his career, and The Dog Stars has hardly any good material that then surfaces into the film. I just, was the book this bad? I don't know, because the movie itself has a story that on paper is like, okay, post-apocalyptic stuff, fine. And it just stays there. There's no dynamicism in this movie. I feel like the layers in this film were so thin. I could never get into the story and care about our characters. This is a film that I genuinely believe had potential, but the execution was non-existent. It starts at the top, of course, with Ridley Scott, who doesn't necessarily know what he wants to say with this film. I feel like if you didn't know it was a Ridley Scott movie, you would never really know that outside of the two action sequences. The movie has a very weird tone to it, where it plays as a post-apocalyptic movie but wants to be a Western drama at times, and I'm thinking, what are we doing? For me, it just kind of fails to be consistent. The film itself has some glimmers of hope, for at least for me, where I thought, oh, okay, is this movie going to go somewhere? No, it runs into a wall. And then when it comes to the acting, outside of Jacob Elordi and Margaret Qualley, I mean, I love Josh Brolin, but he has hardly anything to do in this movie. He plays this disgruntled former Marine, I believe, or former U.S. soldier, and he's a great shot. He's a great sharpshooter, but he doesn't really do much in this movie. I mean, Guy Pearce does more, I think, because they gave him a little bit more to do, but even then, I'm thinking all the supporting cast just feels blah to me. I mean, you have Benedict Wong, and you're going to waste him in this movie? Like, what are we doing here? I thought that even Allison Janney, who's in this movie, a very capable actress, she's awesome, of course. There's a sequence with her. It's the Grand Junction sequence, and it is bad. Like, at first, I thought, oh, it's actually not terrible. But the more I thought about it, it is just so tonally out of place. Like, this is a different movie. I don't necessarily understand a lot of the editing in this film either, because every time the film begins to pick up a little bit of steam, aerial shot, oh, Jacob Elordi goes and takes off in his plane again, it felt like establishing shots of the movie. And if that is the depth of this film, I think that's an issue. I mean, we have a problem here, okay? I almost said Ground Control to Major Tom, we have a problem, but that would be too on the nose. I also thought that the score in this movie was really generic. Oh, man. I mean, the potential is there. Post-apocalyptic films sometimes have some of the best film scores because it is tense, it's thrilling, it could be dramatic, it could be sad, hopeful. I just felt like the composer for this film, and the name escapes me, I'm sorry, sat down and thought, okay, we're just gonna pretend this is a Western. And then we're going to throw in a banjo, and then we're going to... None of it really fit for me. Even in the more tense moments, I was like, what is this score doing? And then there are some original songs, it sounds like. And I thought, okay, are they going to try to submit this to the Academy for like an Oscar? If they are, I don't think it'll win anything, but boy, it was really rough, and at times it was grating to my ears. So I just really couldn't fall in love with the movie from a musical standpoint either, from the music side of things. Now, when it comes to the overall message for the movie, they try to do something through Jacob Elordi's character of Hig, but it just never is fully realized. I mean, they are doing flashback moments to try to make you empathize with where his head's at, and he drops lines like, I'm a mechanic, this isn't my life. Okay, cool. Like, I don't know. I just feel like we've seen it before. What is new about this? And that's the biggest issue with The Dog Stars for me is, and I guess this is where we're getting to my final thoughts. The movie is like everything we've seen before. It is not unique to me in the slightest. I feel like the movie itself tries to separate itself from the other post-apocalyptic movies we've seen, but the story is never strong enough. And that, for me, is where this movie completely falters, is the fact that the script, the writing is bad, and the writers here, one of them wrote The Revenant. So I don't even know how the script turned in the way it did, but I just had the biggest issue with the way that the script was written. It feels like the movie's flat when it should be peaking, and when it is peaking, right afterwards, we're just following up that sequence with really dry writing. Like, the dialogue is so dry in this movie. So yeah, I can't tell you that The Dog Stars is one I recommend seeing in theaters. The film itself had some pretty weird marketing to me. I mean, the trailer didn't really play well, but I also hardly hear about this film, and unfortunately, I don't see this movie really killing at the box office, and it won't help when I'm guessing a lot of people might feel the same way I feel. Now, if people love this movie, great, and if you do, let me know in the comments, but I just came away from this movie thinking about, wow, how long did I spend waiting for something to happen, and when it did, unfortunately, we didn't live in those consequences for too long. Like, the actual ramifications of this setting, of this virus, you're never fully realizing that. It is never felt. So yeah, the movie just didn't make me feel anything other than disappointment. But even then, my expectations were on the ground, so they didn't reach that either. So The Dog Stars truly, for me, would get a 2 out of 5. I just feel like Ridley Scott is on this weird streak where he's got high highs, but his lows are really low, and I don't know. It feels like maybe he's in those twilight years of his career. I don't know. Those are my thoughts, y'all. Let me know down below if you agree with me or not. Let's get the conversation started. And if you haven't already, hit the big red button below. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews like this. I'm seeing a new A24 movie next week. It's called Onslaught with Adria Arjona. Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh, maybe she'll be Wonder Woman too in the DC. We'll see. But I'm excited for her in that role because everything I see her in, I've really enjoyed her acting. So I can't wait to see what she delivers in that film next week. And of course, we've got hopefully a lot to talk about next month or the month after. Yeah, October for New York Comic Con. But yeah, y'all, it's going to be a really fun fall. I can't wait to do all of this with you. And again, thank you for your support. Thanks for tuning in. God bless you. And I'll catch you at the next screening. I know you're probably thinking this jersey's pretty fire. I know.